The Burning Legion has returned.
This is the section I'm most excited about all day long because today, the second beta, I guess they're calling it a beta.
Open beta.
Open beta. Is it the first open beta?
Yeah.
I guess it is. For Battlefield 1 is out. The first closed beta I put in 22 hours into, and it was one map. And boy, that game was fun.
You knew that map.
Totally, right, yeah. And yet I didn't, because every time I played it, it was a different map. Or like, it was, there were changes to it.
Right.
It was a different level of totally fucking flattened.
Right.
Are we all in agreement that the first beta was great? Mm-hmm. Yeah? All right.
Pre-alpha, what do you want?
3 for 3.
Sure.
So this beta, this open beta, new map, it's in the desert, it's got trains and horses. Looks real crazy. Rob, you were the only one of the three of us who has played it. You played a bunch this morning.
Well, I didn't play the beta.
No.
I played like 5 hours at E3 though.
Okay,
That's
right.
So you've had experienced this as well.
Yeah.
But Rob, first of all, how does it play? How is the new map? There was always the worry that like, oh, they've got one good map in them, and then
Right.
like the rest of the stuff it won't be as interesting. What are your initial thoughts of this?
Yeah, I put in a couple matches already. I think this map's better.
Really?
Yeah. What's the name of it?
Sinai Desert.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's so cool right off the bat for me was seeing the sandstorms.
Right.
And you're getting a different form of the dynamic weather that they're like, putting in these games. And yeah, sandstorm, and then you get like a cool overcast cloud covering the sun, so it's like it just desaturates everything and cools
Right.
it all down. And the next thing you know, it's hot again. So I think that's really fun to watch. Making craters in the sand is really rewarding. It looks
right.
great. Overall, I feel like they've added a lot as far as like graphics and
visual fidelities.
Yeah, it's really looking good. And
it looked great already.
I know, it really did.
And it ran. I was really surprised. It actually ran really well on my home PC, which is like pretty good, but not like amazing.
yeah.
So yeah.
I got in a plane and flew around. I'm, a big advocate of the air combat, and that again, it looks like, before in the last pre-alpha, the planes. Again, this isn't a finished game, so I realize they're working on it. But it's cool to see these steps happen where the plane would hit the ground and then just disappear, kind of like
Right, yeah.
pop. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, where'd that go? You're seeing a lot more wreckage now, and what I'm even more excited about is planes. Previously, you could shoot up ailerons, and then that would affect your flight controls. It looks like straight up wings are just gone, and you can still
really?
fly. Yeah, it was really cool. So you're seeing a lot more of this destructible nature, which is just like I think such an essence of this game. It's really exciting to see. So more of that. I got to ride a horse.
Okay, yeah. So tell me about the horses. Can you shoot and murder
good.
the horses?
I didn't have the heart to kill one, but I think you
God damn
can.
it.
I think you can.
What are they primarily
feel
used
good.
for? Because they kind of look like they might just be for, like,
Flanking.
like the
Yeah.
motorbikes of this game, right? Where you're just using them to get around and flank people and stuff.
Totally.
Can you fire one on them?
Yeah. If you spawn on the horse, you're this kind of like horse specific class, kind of like if you're like a tank commander or
Okay.
a pilot. You get this like lever action shotgun,
Right.
which I used at E3. It's tough. It's one tiny little reticle like the
Right.
other guns, but you're on the move and trying to hit someone with this one shot before you get like a 3-second reload.
Right.
The horse is I don't really like the horse as much because I kept getting in tight spots. At least when I played at E3, I don't know if they've improved it.
I'm
at all.
guessing they got pretty like long turning circles.
Yeah,
Right.
well, you couldn't turn, but the good thing is you can leap over like low enough walls.
Right.
So like whereas a Jeep would hit this and then you'd have to go up on this mound around the horse, just leap over. and
Do you have
keep
full
going.
control of the horses? Can you stop them, turn them,
Yeah.
like go anywhere? Okay, it's not like they're on a preset path.
It's like a motorcycle that jumps things.
Okay.
I agree. They're kind of tough as far as turning. Like many times, I initially found myself stuck in a corner or something like that, and then at that point, you're just 5 people are already looking at you.
Right, yeah,
So you're down pretty
Maybe
quick.
there's some level of mastery where like, 2 weeks into this, we'll be like, okay, that's how you
Right.
like use those guys maybe.
Right, and like it seemed like the sprint of the horse had like a long cooldown and a limited amount of like stamina.
Okay.
So bursts of that. I imagine you get a blade, a sword.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was pretty funny.
Like a crazy Ottoman, like bending looking thing.
Saber.
Yeah,
Or-
saber. That's a better word. It's pretty funny seeing these two guys go at it like jousting tactics. That was pretty wild.
What about the train? So the train is like the Zeppelin of this level or
Right.
something?
The
Essentially.
behemoths, they're called. Yeah,
Right, okay.
it's the kind of like a rubber banding. Not so much, but yeah, it circles the map now, and it's
It looked like
It destroyed you when I was watching you play.
yeah, well, like just no problem.
It's just
took
got
me
big
out.
cannons on it, and
Yeah.
you can spawn into it again.
I wasn't able to get into it. It was
Okay.
because it was the losing team that got it. But what's funny is, yeah, it looked like you could essentially stop the train and kind of go like whoever's controlling it. I definitely think someone is. You can kind of back up and go around. So you don't.
Okay.
You see the whole outline of the map. It looks like it goes around the whole thing, right? It looked like you don't have to go one way, right?
Right.
And take 30 minutes to come back around or anything like that.
It's
you can-
much more dangerous on the northern side of the map where those. So the map is actually. I completely agree with Rob. I think it's better than San Quentin Scar,
Right.
the first one. This map is set up so there's 5 control points at the top, the northern side. Then there's this one random. The E one is down in this open like desert on the south.
like Oasis kind of looking
Right.
thing. It's cool.
So the
if
top
you're-
is like almost built up in the side of a mountain face.
And then the
right?
track is only like probably 100 feet from some of those. So that's when the
Oh.
train becomes, if I understand, the train like starts the northwest point, then goes down. So it takes a little bit for it to get back up north. But then once it does, it's super dangerous because.
But then presumably it's also a bigger target.
right. But if like you're the winning team, you kind of want to try to eradicate it before it gets up past those 5
Right.
control points.
Oh, that's cool.
It,
Yeah.
it seemed like it's definitely close enough. You know, it's basically like a just moving artillery piece.
Oh, you can start pummeling the village up in the north if you're close.
Or the E is the Oasis
Oh,
one.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's close enough around there, so that's like a valuable thing. It's like okay, basically it gives reason to go around the whole map.
Right. Yeah.
Another thing, yeah, you mentioned the map, which I am a huge fan of, is again air combat is great. Like I'm a huge advocate of steep terrain and valleys to outmaneuver people. Sure enough, you know they have like sand arches that you could fly under and like really hug and
cool.
fly in between the canyons. When you're able to utilize the terrain in a plane to like your advantage, if you get something in your 6 and you can kind of like who's the better pilot, bud? Like
Yeah.
let me hug this corner. It's all I have to do.
Like Mission or Independence Day style.
Yeah.
Like just yeah.
Woo! Yeah, so you're seeing that. I think that's pretty great. As far as there's a few new weapons, they kind of pulled back on some things too.
Okay.
I feel like they took out some weapons, but they've added like assault class is basically compared to the previous game, it's like they just meshed engineer and assault.
Right.
So you're very much an anti-tank, anti-vehicle guy now. So they added dynamite, so you can throw down dynamite and blow it up. Perfect for the train.
Well, you're making you could like ostensibly make. Well, you did. You were making craters earlier at E, that southern outpost. If you had like no cover, if the building was destroyed, you could just make a crater and duck into it.
Right.
Right, and you totally need to because it's so far away. There are just these stretches of sand dunes which are fun to hit with a Jeep. I was we were just, whoa, it's really fun. But yeah, you're gonna need cover because I was in a plane and 5 dudes are just running across the sand dune trying to get to E. Dude, I was just knocking them down.
Really?
Yeah, just road
Fish
kills.
in a barrel
road kills.
kinda? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
I think it's a much more diverse map, and I think it just looks great. Again, like for something as simple as overcast.
right. In a desert.
Yeah.
Which is like a
It's
pretty
cool.
monochromatic area.
You would
It's
think,
weird. It's
yeah.
like this weird. To get it super geeky, it's this weird like confluence of the Mediterranean weather and the desert weather.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Because this is actually you don't care about the history. I don't know.
No, go for it.
All right, so it's the Sinai campaign. British were essentially just trying to control Suez Canal against the Ottoman Empire. It actually got kind of like overlooked, but it was like it took a while. It was like 1915 until
Right.
1916.
You
I
said it
believe.
was like almost like the World War II market, or sorry, World
Yeah,
War
well-
One version of Market Garden.
Well, Gallipoli was in the Australians' land, and we're trying to
Right.
like pierce the Ottoman Empire. This was more a defensive thing on the British part.
Right.
But I don't know, like I don't want to talk to the full game before it comes out in October because again, this is a beta. But this map, what it like excites me about it is that like obviously Battlefield games live or die by their level design, their maps, as most shooters do, but Battlefield even more so.
Definitely.
This one you actually play the entire game differently. I was telling Rob like San Quentin Scar felt like there's wide open space and it was good for like different viewpoints and sniping and like vehicles would be better up certain approaches, but that felt like this big battlefield where there were these separate skirmishes raging all over at certain
Definitely.
control points.
Yeah. South and the north were like two different things.
Right.
And, yeah.
And this one's still kind of like that, but the fact that the train, you can't control where it's going and the train is actually circling the map, and also the fact that there's this one lone outpost, it actually feels like the entire thing is one big cohesive battle because there are these
Right.
canyons. So when I was playing at E3, like my team was trying to push out of these canyons. We took the central village to the north, and then we were pushing them back into their canyons. But
Right.
then the sandstorm whipped in, so they like I don't know if they meant to or not, but they took the chance because a lot of us were sniping. They took the chance for the concealment to come in and push us back. Whereas like the next time I played, me and 6 other guys and I just went down, held E for the entirety of the map. And like when the train came, we are like, oh my God, we just like hunkered down. Like 5 of us died. There's like a couple of us left. But it feels, that's why like Battlefield 1 is exciting me right now. Again, I can't speak to the quality full game. I haven't played it like no one has, but it actually feels like there are these, you have a sense of the overarching battle that you don't in like a lot of other games, and even like recent Battlefield games in my opinion.
I mean, I am fascinated to see what people think of this open beta, because we have a lot of like I think it's fair to say like a lot of us are Battlefield fans, but we're also like skeptics, like coming out of 3 and 4 mostly, is that like
4, yeah.
Yeah, like, but like there's been nothing but we've enjoyed so much of playing the original beta, and it sounds like this one's fascinating as well from what you guys are saying. So I can't wait, because like, you know, the press can talk about it for as long as we want, but it's not until people actually get hold of it that we can kind of like, you see that like tide change. And I really think like this is the best, but it seems already like it might be the best Battlefield that's come out in a long time. And we haven't seen any of the campaign yet either.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the majority of people. That's not the main draw. Between like having a background in like looking at World War I history, but also just the fact that like if they can, talking about like with other people, like how big a part video games play in romanticizing war nowadays, like because movies did that for a while in the 50s and 60s, then like the 70s comes along, you have the Deer Hunter, and then the 80s comes along, you have Platoon. Those movies realize it's kind of messed up to do that, whereas games are still entrenched in this like romanticization, and you have people spending $60 on pre-orders to play a game set during some of the worst moments in human history.
You're right.
So,
like
not to get like too PC about it, but like if they can actually use that and kind of examine like how messed up World War I was, that's interesting to me. But if they just kind of exploit it, I guess I'm just gonna stick to multiplayer again. But I'm curious about the campaign.
Well, even just for the sake of having new types of games to play, like we've played, like Medal of Honor was very much that, and they were amazing. Call of Duty was very much that for the first couple of years, and those were amazing. But yeah, you're right. Like it would be great. Like Spec Ops: The Line is one of the most interesting.
That's the one.
Like stories about war I've ever seen, and like it's basically like a video game version of a popular movie, but like it's like I'd love to see more of that stuff. Not just for the sake of like war is bad, but also just because games haven't really explored that at all yet. You know what I mean? And you're right. Like if there was ever a war to do it, like World War I, whenever you like do your little Wikipedia search every couple of years and learn about it, it's like, man, this was fucking the worst.
Bad,
like that's why they said it was the Great War, because we'll never do this again. Oh shit, we're doing it again.
Yeah, it was really bad. It's like obviously the Geneva Convention, like so many rules about about war now because of World War I.
Yeah.
Not
and
everybody
even
obeys
people
those
who
rules.
died,
but
not even in the battles, like just across the world because of it. And influenza and fucking
first-hand accounts of like, I don't want to get too graphic, but like first-hand accounts of like trench, like just living in trenches.
Right,
after a while, the trench itself is just like coated in, it's coated in just like all sorts of human
feces and
in like humans.
Oh right. God,
It's like a sludge that people described. That,
oh my
it's
god,
disgusting. It's tough to.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
How the campaign goes.
You just,
Needs more
War
sludge. Oh my god.
You can really see the sludge.
You're
in
part of
this
the problem,
version.
Rob.
Yeah. Play it in 4K. You really get the sludge.
Look at this sludge.
Yeah.
What is that?
This is me scooting.
Are you
in,
like-
dripping?
I just have this idea of like this matrix, like purple goo, which was like, wasn't
Power
that made
Rangers
of
and the
people?
Secret
I
of
think
the
that was
Ooze.
made of people. That stuff that they were in. The whatever.
The Matrix?
I think that stuff they were in the thing, pods, was also made of.
Like humans are batteries in that world.
Yep.
That's what you do with dead batteries.
Yeah.